just another nigga known with the strap, man. Don't cap or your ass going cap, man. You never mix business with new friends. Get booked, then cook by the crack, man. You gon' make a nigga slide with my jacks, man. With a pump that'll leave a nigga flat dead. Put that bitch to his shit and shoot again. Face shots, make a op do a back bend.
I turn to some breaking news we're following out of the South Shore neighborhood where two people were found with gunshot wounds outside. A 35-year-old man had been shot multiple times, taken to the University of Chicago Hospital where he died. A 42-year-old man also taken there but in critical condition. And right now police are still investigating the circumstances surrounding the shooting.
Hey, good morning. Yeah, so sadly, one man is dead. Another man remains here in critical condition. Both of them were discovered outside with gunshot wounds. Here's video from overnight here. There are at least 10 evidence markers on the ground. You can see there. The shooting happened just before midnight near East 67 and Chappelle Avenue. A 35-year-old man was found shot in the back and chest. That's the man who was pronounced dead. The 42-year-old man suffered gunshot wounds to the back and left arm. And again, he is here in critical condition. No information right now on a shooter or if the shooter was on foot or in a vehicle at the time of the incident. We're still working to get more information. Obviously, this is still under investigation. I'm live here at the University of Chicago Hospital. Winnie Dorch, WGN News.
Here's a look at some. Right now, Chicago police are looking for two men in connection with a shooting in the Hermosa neighborhood. Take a look at your screen. Police say the man on the left pulled a gun on the victim during an argument in a parking lot near Pulaski and Armitage around 1 on Sunday morning. They say the man on the right took the gun, shot a person in the shoulder, then fired the gun at a business, shattering the glass door. If you know who either of these men are, please call CPD.
Charges are now filed against a man accused of leading police on a wild chase with two young children in the car. That chase eventually ended in a crash near 147th and Cooper in Markham. CBS Skywatch was over that scene of the wreckage yesterday afternoon. Police say it started with a road rage shooting on I-57 involving 36-year-old Michael Watts. Police did respond, leading to the eventual chase and crash. Watts faces felony gun charges. The two children went to the hospital as a precaution.
We want to show you some exclusive video from that police chase involving Illinois State Police and a car that may have been involved in a violent crime. NBC5's Christian Farr is live in Harvey where it all ended. Christian.
Yeah, in fact, it ended right here with this pole. That's where that car crashed. And in fact, you can see some of the pieces of that vehicle because it was one of the headlamps that slammed into this pole. Now, Illinois State Police say that this chase is connected to a shooting and also an attempted traffic stop. We also would later learn that there were two children in the car, very, very young. Now, here is part of that exclusive video of that chase. We're going to tell you what happens here. The car takes a hard right at Cooper near 147th, and then we watch as the car slams into that pole that we just showed you. We are here in Harvey. The driver jumps out of the car and then runs into the backyard of an apartment building. One of the residents was outside at the time of that foot chase by Illinois State Police. The driver then runs around a fence and for some reason collapses to the ground, and that's when police finally arrest him.
Chicago Ocean 304, you catch me in the pursuit. If you haven't been advised, there's two children in the car. Apparently not injured, but they will need an ambulance.
Now, again, there were two children inside of that car. A neighbor telling me off camera that they looked like toddlers. They looked fine. They weren't crying or anything like that. That's what he told me. They were taken into protective custody, and police are saying they didn't have any apparent injuries. For now, an investigation is underway. Again, this may have been connected to some sort of shooting and an attempted traffic stop by police. We'll hope to get more details later. For now, reporting live here in Harvey, Christian Farr, NBC5 News. Back to you in the studio.
Yeah, a lot left to learn there, but thank you, Christian, for the update that you brought us.
Now to some breaking news this morning. Two 15-year-old boys are recovering after they were shot in Calumet Heights. Police say the teens were outside 92nd and Merrill around 11:30 last night when a man walked up to them. They got into an argument before a fight broke out, and officers say the man pulled out a gun and opened fire before running off. Both teens were taken to hospitals in good condition. No word yet if anyone is in custody. Loop where thieves were behind another smash and grab of an ATM from a business. It happened near Van Buren and Clark just after 5 this morning. Chicago police are on the case and say 3 people used a black SUV to get in and then used a white SUV to get away.
Breaking right now, first at 4, Chicago police are investigating after finding the bodies of 2 men and a woman at an apartment in Marquette Park. Police tell us they responded around 11 this morning to the building that's on Marquette Road near Spalding. All 3 were pronounced dead at the scene. CPD detectives are now investigating. We begin with breaking news. 2 people found shot and killed in Harvey. Our Sarah Mackey's live for us at that scene where the police chief and the mayor just spoke. Sarah, what did we learn?
Yeah, Marie, we now know that 2 people were shot and killed, and 2 dogs were also shot. At least one of them had survived by the time that police arrived here this morning. We also tried to talk to some family members who were outside, but they told us they are simply too stunned right now to speak. We do know also that it was family members who came here to find one of their loved ones, a man, laying motionless inside of this home. I want you to take a look at some of the video that we have from earlier today, where you will see there were just massive crowds. Dozens of people showed up here as police found a man and a woman both killed inside the home, pronounced dead on scene. Friends tell us the man involved worked security at a bar in Dixmoor and was really liked by everyone who knew him. They tell us that both people lived on this block, which might be part of the reason why there are so many people here today.
Harvey is a town where you have people that you have multiple members of a family that live in town. This is such a family environment. You always come home to Harvey. You have blocks where multiple members of a family own multiple homes.
All right, now police have been very tight-lipped about this investigation. We repeatedly asked them about specific things we've heard. They would not confirm. Police also did not give any information about their suspect in this case, but they did say that there is no reason for anybody else to worry about their safety. We are still waiting on the medical examiner to identify the victims here. We are continuing to look into this and find more information. We'll bring you the very latest tonight at 5 o'clock. Live from Harvey, Sarah Mackey, CBS News, Chicago.
Ruled a double homicide, though authorities are not saying a lot. They just released the scene here. This is the place where they found the bodies of 2 people they say were shot to death, and 2 dogs were shot. One of them died. Harvey police say they were called to a medical emergency at 150th and Vine at 7:20 this morning, and when they arrived, they discovered 2 people shot to death. They say one of the dogs is still alive in critical condition. The Cook County Medical Examiner's Office was called in, and the victims are not identified at this time. The chief of Harvey police called it a senseless act of violence.
Because of the early nature, how early we are in the investigation, we're trying to hold as much information back as possible right now to protect the integrity of the investigation. We don't want to give any aid to the people or the person or persons who might have committed this senseless act.
But Chief Mitchell says that they are following multiple leads. Police are also asking the public for helpful information, including video, if they have it. Reporting live in Harvey, I'm Joni Lum, Fox Chicago. Right, Anita, the Cook County Medical Examiner identified 50-year-old Aaron Jones as one of the 2 people who were shot to death found inside a home here in Harvey. That second person still not identified tonight. But tonight the deaths were acknowledged at Harvey's City Council meeting. Harvey police were called to the scene of what they were told was a medical incident this morning at 7:23. They found 2 people who died of gunshot wounds. It appeared the door of the house was damaged. They set up a tent to shield the scene while investigating for nearly 9 hours. Police say that 2 dogs were shot, 1 survived. Friends and family gathered at the house to share their grief and lend support. Police did not lock down the neighborhood, but but they did not share why they do not think the public is in danger.
We don't want to give any aid to the people or the person or persons who might have committed this senseless act. And so we're holding back as much information we can. We don't know what information we release might help them, evade justice.
On behalf of the city of Harvey, if we can all offer a moment of silence today for the two victims, residents of Harvey. Thank you.
That's Acting Mayor Shirley Drewinski starting tonight's City Council meeting with a moment of silence for the victims that she said are Harvey residents. The invocation included a prayer for the victims' families before the body went into executive session. Harvey police say they are following numerous leads, and also Illinois State Police are joining in this investigation. Reporting live in Harvey, I'm Joni Lum. Anita?
Hey, I heard, as you mentioned, the chief there saying that he didn't want to give too much information away as they don't want to hinder their investigation. But it is sort of telling that they're calling this a double homicide and not a murder-suicide.
That's right. In their news release, they categorize this as a double homicide. The neighborhood is not in danger. They have no one in custody at this time. But they are also asking the public for help. They want some helpful information that can lead to an arrest or to find out who their suspect might be. They just didn't want to tip their cards too early. They are investigating, though.
Very emotional day there in Harvey. Thank you.
The suspect in a double killing in South suburban Harvey has been found dead in downstate Illinois. The Fayette County coroner confirms the suspect, whose name has not been released, was found about 90 miles east of St. Louis. Yesterday morning, 2 people and a dog were shot and killed inside a home near 150th and Vine. One of the victims has been identified as 50-year-old Aaron Jones. The second victim's name has not been released.
Charged in a shooting back in June in Lincoln Park is expected in court today, where we could learn more about this. Police say 23-year-old Jalen Jones shot a woman multiple times during a street party that was near Belden, Lincoln, and Orchard. It happened at 4 a.m. on June 7th. The woman drove herself to the hospital, and Jones is now charged with attempted murder and aggravated battery.
Tonight, a man is charged with attempted murder for a shooting in Lincoln Park. Jalen Jones is expected in court tomorrow. He is accused of shooting and injuring a 39-year-old woman near Lincoln and Belden. A deadly shooting near that same spot a few weeks later led to the closure of a bar in the area.
Ravi, the DEA Chicago field office telling the I-Team exclusively there has been a major influx of meth in the Chicago area. The special agent in charge explaining his teams have seized more methamphetamine in the first half of this year than all of last year combined, much of it disguised as common party drugs like ecstasy or Molly.
It can get pretty dangerous out there.
The I-Team with exclusive access to the DEA Chicago Drug Lab, where forensic chemists sort and test powders and pills for illicit drugs. These pills with popular cartoon images stamped on them are marketed as the party drugs ecstasy or MDMA. But the dark inky color in these test tubes confirms they are in fact methamphetamine.
The foreign terrorist organizations, Sinaloa Cartel and CJ&G Cartel, are really producing a lot of methamphetamine, and last year it was nearly pure methamphetamine.
Since the start of this year, Special Agent in Charge Todd Smith says the DEA Chicago field office has seized more than 3,038 pounds of meth, 1.5 tons, more than the total meth seized all of last year or the year before, according to DEA data.
A decade ago, the Chicago area did not see a lot of methamphetamine. That's changed. There is a lot of methamphetamine available, and unfortunately is being put into these counterfeit pills.
Smith telling the I-Team Mexican cartels receiving precursor chemicals from China and India are pushing meth production as international efforts to reduce fentanyl are making progress.
We have seen the lethality of the fentanyl pills come down, but we've also seen a shift to powders. We've seen more fentanyl powder and more methamphetamine powder and crystal coming into the United States.
Powder that can be pressed in makeshift meth pill making operations like this one, uncovered by DEA Chicago and Indiana earlier this year.
What are the conditions that these pills are made in?
The conditions are awful. We walk into these counterfeit labs and they're an absolute mess. There's powder everywhere. unsanitary conditions.
The added concern in the summer with Lollapalooza this weekend, extreme heat and meth can be a deadly combination. Meth increases body temperature, impairs the brain's ability to regulate body heat, and makes it harder for the heart to compensate for extreme heat.
Because you have that fight or flight response, there's also going to be some sweating that may be induced and dehydration.
Now, the DEA saying parents should be concerned about counterfeit pills and are urging families to talk to their children now before major festivals and the return to school.
Well, we'll be seeing Lollapalooza in all its glory over the next couple of days. We'll be watching this story as part of it, right?
I hope so, and hope people are careful.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
Mark. Thank you.
Let's turn to some more news tonight. A South Shore family says they're still looking for answers after a police shooting earlier this month. They believe officers never should have chased Malik Wrightsell in the first place, and now they're demanding to see the body camera video. Charlie Wojciechowski's in the newsroom with their concerns this evening. Charlie?
Well, Stefan, this is a story that's part of a controversy surrounding police stops and police chases. How far should those stops go, and when should officers be allowed to give chase? Tonight, Malik Wrightsell's family is saying a stop July 3rd went too far. They say police were defending themselves, at least the police do, after that Wrightsell opened fire. Malik Wrightsell and his son Malik riding in the same homemade dune buggy that one day later would lead to a police stop and a shooting.
I just think that we need to pay attention to the bigger picture. He needs help, and we need to be the people to help him.
On July 3rd, Wrightsell and his son were pulled over here, near the 2000 block of East 79th. As he had dozens of times before, when cops wanted to see his ride, Wrightsell pulled over, gave police his license. But this time something went wrong. Police say Wrightsell ran. There was a struggle in the alley, and police say Wrightsell pulled out a gun and shot one of the officers in his bulletproof vest. Wrightsell's attorney says that's not the whole story.
What we believe happened is that a firearm during a struggle that should have never happened went off. And in reaction to that firearm, the police somehow were able to shoot Malik twice in his spine and once in his neck.
Now Malik Wrightsell stands charged with the attempted murder of a police officer. His family is in disbelief.
The way he's being treated, what the media has said about him, no. We want the full body cam. We want to see it intact.
According to the Civilian Office of Police Accountability's initial report, the individual who had pulled out a firearm shot one officer in their ballistic vest. That officer then discharged their weapon, striking the individual. Wrightsell's family questions that report and says police never should have chased him in the first place. NBC5 investigates checked out Malik Wrightsell's criminal history and found an extensive record which does include felonies. No comment tonight from Chicago police due to that COPA investigation. The city generally requires police incident video to be released within 60 days. Authorities can, however, seek a delay if they feel the release would jeopardize their investigation. Stefan, back to you.
We'll be following that situation. Charlie Wojciechowski, thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Family and friends actually coming together at first in mourning, but have now turned this gathering into a celebration of life for this Southside basketball legend, Tim Bankston. They're still continuing to gather at this hour while the 60-year-old was found earlier this morning inside of the home near 77th and Emerald in Chicago's Auburn Gresham neighborhood around 10 a.m. Police say the TF North High School basketball coach was shot in his abdomen and was dead when officers arrived. Relatives say the scene is at a friend's home, and it was that friend who found him.
His friend had been out and came back and found that the door to the house was open in the back. And he says he walked in to take a look. He's saying, my brother's feet. And he said immediately he bent down and shook him to see was he okay or what. Say he was cold.
I could not imagine anyone wanting to do anything to harm him because he was such a people person. I mean, he gave back to the community, he gave back to the kids.
And Bankston is most remembered for helping to lead Simeon High School to a basketball state title in 1984. He then went on to play at Bradley and Loyola Universities and has been the head coach at TF North and Calumet City since 2002, where he also coached his own son. So far, police have made no arrests in this deadly shooting.
Relatives say the shooting likely happened the night before Tim Bankston's body was found inside of a home by a friend, the same home where even after police left the scene, heavy hearts remained.
He was such a beautiful spirit, such a great brother, more than just a basketball coach, more than just a basketball legend, a family man.
Right outside of tragic discovery,
my dad part of me. I got his name. I carry his legacy.
gathered family, friends, and many others mourning the loss of former Simeon basketball star and beloved coach at TF North High School, Tim Bankston.
It hurts like everything I can never imagine in my life. I didn't cry like this when my mom and dad died. But the love that I have for him, it'll be everlasting.
Police say the 60-year-old was discovered inside a home near 77th and Emerald with a gunshot wound to the stomach. Relatives say Bankston's body was found at a friend's home, and that friend is the person who found him.
His friend had been out and came back and found that the door to the house was open in the back. He's saying my brother's feet. And he said immediately he bent down and shook him to see was he okay or what. Say he was cold.
Bankston was a senior at Simeon Career Academy when he led the team to a state title in 1984, the same year his teammate and fellow basketball star Ben Wilson was shot and killed.
Ben Wilson, him, Kenny Allen, it's a lot of ball players up there. They all touch hands again and welcome him home.
It's unclear exactly how long Bankston's body was left inside of the home. So far, police have made no arrests.
A high school basketball coach was found shot to death in the Auburn Gresham neighborhood.
Winnie is at the 6th District Police Station with more. Winnie?
Hey, good morning. Yeah, so 60-year-old Tim Bankston was a basketball coach for Thornton Fractional High School District 215. Not only is he being remembered for his great coaching, but he was a star basketball player for Simeon High School.
A senior, 6'4", number 22, Tim Bankston. Bankston, the quality guard, can score.
Now, sadly, Bankston was found unresponsive inside of a home on the 7600 block of South Emerald Wednesday morning. He suffered a gunshot wound to the stomach. Bankston grew up on the south side of Chicago. He played with Ben Wilson, another great basketball player who was shot near Simeon on November 20th, 1984. In 1997, Bankston became a special education teacher's aide and assistant basketball coach at Thornton. In 2002, he moved up to head coach of the basketball program. The district sent out a statement. It reads in part, "He was not just beloved, he was a mentor that countless alumni credit for being the overriding influence that made them into positive, productive members of communities that they are today. He will be missed by the entire Thornton Fractional High School District 215 family." Now, counseling will be available for students and staff throughout the week. Chicago police are continuing to investigate this deadly shooting. Reporting here at the 6th District Police Station, Winnie Dortch, WGN News.
2 teens shot inside an apartment building on the south side. Chopper 7 over the scene just moments ago. This is the 400 block of West Winnacunnet Parkway. Police telling us that someone fired shots into the victim's residence from the hallway. An 18-year-old boy was hit in the neck, and he's in critical condition. A 13-year-old boy was grazed by a bullet. Both are in the hospital tonight.
The Lake County Coroner's inquest determined that Mary Alice Love died by homicide. And while that finding does not necessarily place any blame, Love's family is encouraged by the finding. The Love family, along with community supporters, leave a meeting with Lake County State's Attorney Eric Reinhart this morning. They say the findings of the coroner's inquest provide some closure, but also opens a new chapter in their fight for justice.
I never would have thought that picking up the phone to call and ask for help and support, then we would be in this position.
Love was killed in early May after being shot several times by a police officer who was responding to a 911 call for help at the home. Her family insists she posed no danger. They say they called 911 for help because she was having a mental health episode. She had a large knife and was approaching officers when the officer opened fire. We paused the video just before the first gunshot.
Jury members asked specifically, why wasn't a taser used? And the person who interviewed him said he didn't believe it would work. How are you a trainer? How are you a supervisor? And you don't believe in de-escalation.
The family says the officer never issued a warning before opening fire. They say a taser would have been more appropriate than a gun. They're asking the police department to fire the officer immediately and the state's attorney to file criminal charges against him. We're not naming the officer because he has not been charged. The Love family says Mary Alice was a gentle soul who lit up a room when she entered.
Nothing could ever heal the pain that my family is going through, but to think that there may be justice for such an unjust act, it gives us hope.
The Lake County State's Attorney's Office confirms they met with the family, but they have no comment. And Mundelein police have not responded to the family's call for the officer to be fired.
This is a very good first step in moving this forward to bring this family some peace and some resolution.
Love's family tells me they believe the police body camera video of the incident was edited. They say they hope to have the unedited version and be able to release that to the public soon.
Police released this video. They're looking for these men. Investigators say they shot and killed a person in the South Shore neighborhood last June. Happened near Clyde and 78th. If you know who these men are, police would like to hear from you.
The I-Team tonight uncovering more than a dozen complaints and multiple incidents of gun violence at a now closed Lincoln Park bar. And today, Alderman Timmy Knutson, citing a pattern of public safety threats, says it's closing time as he calls on the city to revoke the liquor license of the Dime after a deadly shooting there last week.
There's a clear pattern of guns coming out of this bar, going into this bar, and the guns being used.
Lincoln Park Alderman Timmy Knutson telling the I-Team he is deeply concerned about public complaints and the number of shootings near the Dime in Lincoln Park, now shut down by order of the police superintendent after this deadly shooting there less than a week ago. We've paused the video as shots are fired. 30-year-old Malik McCorkle was killed. The gunman is still at large.
Now what we need to do is make sure that the liquor license and the amusement license is revoked, or else there's a clear path for this business to come back and reopen.
This letter fired off today by Knutson to the city's Department of Business Affairs and Consumer Protection and the city's liquor commissioner is a formal request to revoke the Dime's liquor license, citing multiple incidents of calls to Chicago police for shootings and weapons in and around the Dime going back 2 years. The I-Team uncovering at least 14 complaints over the past 6 years obtained through a public records request detailing allegations of narcotics and drugs being sold at the Dime, overcrowding, and large unruly parties spilling out into the street.
We talked to employees on the Lincoln Avenue stretch that feel unsafe working at night because of this bar and how the spillover was really going into the street with parties in the street. And of course, any gunshot offense is very scary to someone who's walking at night.
One complaint forcing the Dime into an abatement plan with the city, mandating surveillance cameras and at least 3 security guards on the premises, adding restrictions to outside promoters running events, and instructing ownership and staff to report criminal activity, among other requirements. Efforts, Knutson tells the I-Team, were futile.
The abatement plan formally went into place in March, and we had 2 shooting incidents within the next 3.5 months. That shows that the abatement plan meant nothing at all.
Owners of the Dime have not responded to I-Team requests for comment, but after the deadly shooting last week, posted a statement in part saying the Dime has consistently taken the safety of its patrons, employees, and neighbors seriously. We will have no further comment at this time. A man was just charged this week with attempted murder for a shooting near the Dime that injured a 39-year-old woman in June. We've also reached out to the city for a response. Knutson telling the I-Team if the Dime's liquor license is revoked, it will either have to shut down or work with his office on a very stringent safety plan to reopen.
A 15-year-old was shot in Englewood. It happened at 12:30 this morning near 70th and Wood. He was taken to the hospital in good condition. So far, no one is in custody.
A warning about this next story from Northwest Indiana. Some of the details are disturbing. 32-year-old Serena Dolnix is charged with killing her father, then cutting out his heart. Porter County prosecutors filed charges after finding Gregory Dolnix's body Sunday in Valparaiso. Court documents say she stabbed him several times. Serena Dolnix waived her right to an attorney and spoke with detectives. She's being held without bond.
Breaking right now, a deadly shooting on Chicago's southwest side. Chopper 7 was over that scene in the 3400 block of West 16th Street. Police say a man was standing near the street and 2 vehicles apparently rolled up to him and the people inside started shooting, killing that man. A woman in the area was also hit by gunfire. She is now in fair condition.
We're also following breaking news from the North Lawndale neighborhood where Chicago police are investigating after a deadly shooting there that shattered a bus stop shelter. This happened around 12:30 this afternoon in the 3400 block of West 16th. Police say a 27-year-old man standing near the street was approached by 2 cars. People in both vehicles fired at him, and he died at a local hospital. A 56-year-old woman nearby was also hit by the gunfire twice. She's in fair condition at Mount Sinai Hospital. That shooting is under investigation.
Good morning. The video shows multiple angles of the deadly shooting. The 4 suspects, all in black and wearing masks, unload on the victims.
It's about 12:30 in the morning on July 2nd. 4 suspects make their way through an alley near 76th and Halstead in Auburn Gresham. After turning the corner and entering the BP gas station parking lot, they seemingly spot their target and begin to fire. In the span of about 10 to 15 seconds, 4 people were hit, 2 killed, and the 4 suspects run back the way they came.
I got blood in the gas station. I don't know if the victim came in here. But we shut the gas station down and look at the camera footage. The 4 ambulances rolling. One of them looked like it might be a DOA already.
Police also released individual images of the 4 suspects. There are no clear images of the suspects' faces. Police, however, are hoping someone recognizes something about the suspects that can help identify them.
Police say the 2 victims killed were a 53-year-old woman and a 46-year-old man. The 2 surviving victims are both in their 30s. We are live in the newsroom. I'm Eric Rung, WGN News. The video shows the deadly shooting from several different angles. All of the suspects are wearing black and masks, and they unload on the victims.
It's about 12:30 in the morning on July 2nd. 4 suspects make their way through an alley near 76th and Halstead in Auburn Gresham. After turning the corner and entering the BP gas station parking lot, they seemingly spot their target and begin to fire. In the span of about 10 to 15 seconds, 4 people were hit, 2 killed, and the 4 suspects run back the way they came.
I got blood in the gas station. I don't know if the victim came in here. But we shut the gas station down and look at the camera footage. The 4 ambulances rolling. One of them looked like it might be a DOA already.
Police also released individual images of the 4 suspects. There are no clear images of the suspects' faces. Police, however, are hoping someone recognizes something about the suspects that can help identify them.
Police say the 2 victims that were killed in this deadly shooting include a 53-year-old woman and a 46-year-old man. The 2 surviving victims are both in their 30s. We're in the newsroom. I'm Eric Rung, WGN News.
All right, thank you, Eric.
Good morning. Warrenville police initially tried to stop the 36-year-old after he was reported missing and suffering a mental health crisis. Police gave him more than 24 warnings to drop his gun before opening fire.
April 27th, around 3 in the afternoon.
He's showing me his gun. He does have a Glock.
The Warrenville officer tries for the first time to get 36-year-old Joseph Moreno to drop his gun.
Hey, man, hey, drop the gun! Drop the gun!
Moreno then takes off, still holding the gun, out of his window and heads to Interstate 88. The officer gives chase and the Illinois State Police join. After about 15 minutes, Moreno pulls over and gets out and fires his gun.
Hey, man, hey! Shots fired, shots fired, shots fired. Drop the gun! He already shot once! Drop the gun! Drop.
The Warrenville officer fires back, believing he's hit him twice.
Drop the gun! He's still got the gun in his hand. Send an ambulance this way. We got 2 shots on him at least. He's still up.
Illinois State Police and Warrenville officers continue to yell for the 36-year-old to drop his weapon.
Hey, listen! We want to help you. You need to drop the gun. He's been shot twice.
A few moments later, the Warrenville officer reaches for a beanbag gun.
Beanbag! Beanbag! Here we go.
Moreno goes down and officers move in.
All right, I got the gun. Car's good. Car's good.
Illinois State Police allowed Moreno's family to review the video before it was released. The 36-year-old died from his injuries at a hospital shortly after the shooting. We're live in the newsroom. I'm Eric Rung, WGN News.
Garfield Ridge residents demanding something be done about prostitution and drug activity returning to their area. We have covered this story before. Neighbors say they've been noticing it along Cicero Avenue near Midway Airport. They say and this is very yucky. They are finding used condoms, syringes, and other evidence of illegal activity in residential areas. It was a problem last year. Those complaints were heard. Police did help things get under control there, but that did not last. Residents held a press conference last night urging city leaders to step in.
In this neighborhood for 40 years, over 40 years, and I have kids now that are teenagers growing up. Their curfews are later, and when they see the activities that are going on, that's a bad influence on them, especially as they're starting college. You know, we don't want them going into other areas that are not so pretty.
Residents are calling for increased police patrols, more surveillance cameras, and a police station in that area.
Newly released body camera video shows the moment Chicago police encounter Quotangelo Temples during the chaos of a July 4th. Teen takeover in Douglas Park and the 1300 block of South Fairfield Avenue. But the video isn't what we were first led to believe. Our original report identified this male in a white shirt. Turns out this is Temple's teenage brother. He's a minor that was arrested, but according to family, those charges were later dropped. The 33-second-long video from Chicago police shows Temples was wearing a black shirt. He says the video backs up his narrative of what happened.
From the video, I feel like we can tell everything now, because they say I came up aggressive, anything, swung at them, and did all type of stuff. But as I was walking up, my hands were still to my side. I didn't come up charged, swinging at anybody. When I walked up, they first initially pushed me. Once they pushed me, I pushed them back, and then we just got to shoving each other from there. And as we shoving each other, I got struck twice in my eye, and that was it.
You see Temples walking right towards police as they are in the middle of an arrest. 19-year-old Temples was stopped in his tracks by officers. You do hear them telling Temples to back up. And then police say put him in handcuffs, also asking, what is your problem? But after that, it's unclear what happened next. For a few seconds, the audio on the body camera drops out. Temples is in the middle of it all and is eventually arrested.
In the video, you can see that they pushed me first, pushed me back on the car. After the first push, every other cop started to push me afterwards.
Temples denies striking any officer. He says the body camera supports his account that officers made physical contact first, saying the images from our previous report shows he sustained several injuries.
I got an injury from a cop just hitting me in my eye. After like 2 or 3 pushes, I got struck in my eye with a fist.
Chicago police told us Temples battered an officer while police were trying to disperse the large crowd. Temples denies those allegations and says this is the first and only time he's had an encounter with police.
When the news did come out, the mugshot and everything, I had friends texting me, asking me, am I okay? And, you know, I still think about it to this day, honestly, about what's going on, because that's the first thing that ever happened in my life. Nothing like that. I never got engaged with any police anywhere.
The student athlete is set to leave for college and says he wants to put all of this behind him.
Scared, traumatized, yes, for sure.
And for now, he's attending court by Zoom, facing 2 charges, resisting or obstructing a peace officer, and aggravated battery to a peace officer. That's a felony. Temple says he wants the charges dropped, even more video released, and called for police accountability.
I feel like they should be held accountable.
Tia Ewing, Fox Chicago.
Well, 2 men are charged with murder, and there is still no body. Rustin Furman disappeared near Mundelein in November, and detectives say they found his blood under a freshly stained floor. Chris Cavelli with the Lake County Sheriff's Office has worked this case from day one. Thanks for being with us on The Loop.
Thank you.
Okay, so take us back to November. What made your detectives think this was more than a missing person?
Yeah, so initially we got the report of a missing person. Detectives responded out to the scene based on some information they were getting from the person reporting him missing, and the fact that he really just disappeared. No signs, no trace of him whatsoever, no cell phone activity, no activity on credit cards. That raised a level of concern and suspicion, and they continued investigating from there.
What did you see, or your detectives see, when they got into that living room?
Yeah, so what they discovered is that he had an acquaintance that lived right around the corner. Basically, their backyards backed up to each other. They noticed that the inside of this acquaintance's home had been freshly painted. The floors had been redone just recently. And some things stood out there, which heightened their suspicion because they knew that that was the last place that the missing person was likely seen.
What finally got you from suspicion to a murder charge after 8 months?
Yeah, so detectives, they obtained enough information and evidence to seek a search warrant for the house where the individual was last seen. A judge agreed that there was enough probable cause and authorized that search warrant. When they conducted the search warrant, they found that even though the walls had been freshly painted over, there was some spatter that appeared to be blood. And they also pulled up some of that freshly redone flooring, and on the subfloor they found what appeared to be pooled blood. So they cut samples out from those areas, they sent it to the crime lab, and it confirmed it was the missing person's DNA that was located in those items. Additionally, they located a saw near a backyard and a burn pit. Saw appeared to have some blood on it, and it was confirmed to be the blood of the missing person as well.
How do you prove a murder without a body?
Yeah, it's certainly not easy, and that's certainly why this case took some time. It took a lot of extensive investigative work, a lot of forensic work. We worked very closely with the Lake County State's Attorney's Office on this, who was very supportive, and eventually enough evidence to point to these two individuals who are charged with first-degree murder being responsible for the murder of the missing person.
His family still doesn't know where he is. What do you tell them?
Yeah, you know, certainly any family going through a situation like this, extremely sad, and how do you sleep at night? So what our detectives are doing is working very hard to try to locate any of the remains that they can. They've spent a lot of time out on a lake in that area that has not returned with any positive results, but we're doing what we can. But the first step here was that the individuals responsible have been charged, and they will face justice for what they did to this family member.
Where does the case go from here? Where does the search go from here?
Yeah, detectives will continue searching. There's still leads they're continuing to follow up on, which may result in some positive returns. We're hopeful, but they won't give up. They'll keep looking for any of the remains so they can bring those back to the family.
Any clue how these three men know each other?
Yeah, they've been acquaintances for quite some time. One of the individuals was actually roommates with the missing person, and the house that we believe the murder took place in, where the blood was located, they were acquaintances with that individual as well. So they've known each other, they've been acquaintances, they've done some work together, and have some history together.
I'm curious too, both of them have been locked up since November on guns and drug charges. Where would this case be if those arrests never happened, you think?
Yeah, so fortunately, those charges ended up having them held in custody, and they were convicted of those charges, which kept them in custody while detectives were able to continue the investigating, because we really don't like to rush investigations that can lead to mistakes, and we don't want mistakes in investigations. This gave them the time to do it right and obtain enough evidence to have them charged with first-degree murder.
You said they were acquaintances, but do we know why this happened? Any clue on a motive?
Yeah, unfortunately, that's one of the things we're not certain about. Detectives certainly have ideas and beliefs and theories. There's working theories, however, nothing that we can come out and definitively say.
All right, Chris, thank you so much for updating us on the case. I'm sure we'll be talking again pretty soon.
Thank you.
All right.